Good morning. Welcome to our webinar on economic injury disaster loans. Our panelist today is Glamis Haro. She's a senior business advisor at the Columbia University SBDC. If we can't get to your question during the presentation, we'll definitely get to it at the end during our Q&A. Again, I'd like to welcome Glamis, our presenter, and I will let her take over.
Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Glamis Haro, and I am with the Columbia University Small Business Development Center. And for some of you, the way to conduct businesses may be totally new. For us, it has been part of normal business. However, and speaking from my heart, I wanted to let you know that that this disaster cannot stop us and will not stop us. As long as we have the technology and the civility to help each other, by keeping calm, being cool, we will get through this, and hopefully soon. This will be like any other bad dream that we have had. Okay, so now we continue with the PowerPoint. This is the agenda that we're going to be discussing today, and this is the first step in the Small Business Administration's response to the COVID-19 and its impact to your small business. This is the resource or authority in the toolbox that they have when they need to deploy without any legislation. This is also designed to keep businesses afloat until the legislative program that under negotiation can be voted on and deployed by the SBA. The SBA is the Small Business Administration and the federal body of government working with us, the Small Business Development Centers, to deliver this service. These are direct loans coming from the US, the United States Treasury. This is not a transitional loan from a local lender that are guaranteed by the Small Business Administration, and there is no cost to apply. So I will be giving you information in detail about what businesses are eligible, the application process, what do you need, some tips, and the assistance that we can provide to you. Whether or not to apply for a loan and take the loan will be up to you. It's your personal decision. But at least if you, at least what you can do is to create a profile account. It will be an account in the SBA deployment system for future programs. You will always need to be part of it anyway, because we know businesses cannot grow without access to capital. This will reduce the time it takes to apply for future programs that will be managed by the Small Business Administration. If you apply early, your approval will come earlier. If you wait to apply, the influx of applications will place you farther down in the approval process. If you can always, if you can get declined, you can. What I'm trying to say is that you can always decline a loan that once is approved. I personally like the terms because it gives you the flexibility to pay earlier without any penalties in case things start going well. So again, this is money. This loan is coming directly from the money is coming directly from the United States Treasury, not from banks. And I will be repeating a few things over and over because if I consider it necessary. Some details, as you can see, probably you read already. I will be discussing in more detail as we go. The coronavirus is causing business disruptions, and most of our small businesses, if not all, are being affected. Remember that a small business in the United States is the one with less than 250 employees. We are recommended that you're considering applying. We also need you to, if you apply, to either get approved or get declined. The worst case will be to be declined, but we need that decline number to move to an alternative. So businesses that include for this relief is businesses directly affected by the COVID-19 disaster. And I will explain to you what it means and who they are, okay? We have an example here. A manufacturer of widgets may be eligible, as well as the wholesaler and retailer of the product. Even though they are not specific in telling us you can be a retailer online, you may qualify. You may qualify, and we are recommending that everybody applies for it. So what is excluded? The loan that is not intended for business growth and expansion. So this money is not for you to expand the business. Of course, the situation does, for most of the industries, does not allow for expansion as we speak, or to refinance other loans. This is an emergency loan intended to help you weather in the storm. The other thing that I would say in regards to the previous slide is that please do not apply if losses aren't due to the coronavirus. I mean, it's obvious that I need to tell you this. In other words, if the business was already losing money, it's going to be hard to blame it to the virus. However, you need to let us know so we can move in a different direction. So here we have a list of all the businesses that can qualify for this, even recreational facilities, universities, hospitals, nonprofit corporations, restaurants, of course, travel agencies, wholesalers. But all of you need to have a physical address, not a PO box number. Actually, you need to keep in mind that if you write a PO box number, that's a reason that your loan may be declined. So these businesses, even though in the list does not mention online retailers or home service businesses, we are also recommending you to apply and let them tell you that you don't qualify so we can move in a different direction. I also mentioned earlier that a small businesses is one with 250 employees or less. That's a big number, so it pretty much applies to almost everybody. Please remember that when completing the application of forms, do not use a PO box number or address. Here are the components of the loan program. So working capital loans, as I mentioned earlier, are determined based on specific pinpoints. For example, the loan amounts will be determined based on the losses reported to date and the projected losses for the remainder of 2020. For this, we will need to financially project your losses through 2020. Overhead expenses of the businesses as reported on your tax returns and internal profit and loss statements. The loan amount maximum is of $2 million, and the uses of the funds are to cover for overhead expenses, payroll expenses, in order to retain employees, fixed debts such as rent or payments that cannot wait, accounts payable, cannot be used for loan consolidation or for personal losses. I will be explaining to you later the approval criteria and the terms, but I just overheard that Governor Cuomo say that sales taxes payments stay. If you need to make payments for those taxes, you need to make them according to the due date. Just personal taxes are extended. I think it's through July. I am not 100% of this, so don't quote me on it, but I think if I heard correctly, it's through July. Moving on. So the approval criteria, of course, we're talking about acceptable credit history to the SBA. What is acceptable will be explained later. The business will be capable of loan repayment. Remember that SBA is assuming that the applying businesses will be able to reopen following the downturn of the pandemic. Past and current performance on federally guaranteed loans can help. In other words, this is your credit history for the business. Flexible terms are as follows: 3.75% fixed rate interest rate, 3.75 fixed interest rate, repayment terms up to 30 years, so that way your payments can be smaller. First payment will not be due in 6 months from the date of the loan disbursement. Loans or less than $25,000 will not require collateral. It will be considered as a microloan. So $25,000 loan is for the SBA a microloan and does not require collateral. Loans more than $25,000 will take available collateral. Lack of collateral, however, will not result in a loan decline. So then what's collateral? It's something to offer to the government as guarantee in case of non-payment. For the attendees here and who have attended my Finance 102 class, you know that this is discussed in detail during that class. For the ones that are not, collateral is always good to offer to the federal government. When I was underwriting SBA loans, I used to pretty much take everything that was offered, right, for loans. Let's say you have a fully paid car, they will put a link in that car. You know, the SBA really doesn't need the car. It's more psychological collateral than anything, okay? And if there is nothing to offer, you know that the max that you can get is $25,000. So here is just a sample of what is an excellent credit. If your credit score is from 750 to 850, you are considered to have excellent credit. You will be approved for the loan, and your interest rate will be 3.75%, double percentage. Sorry about that. $650 to $750 is good credit. You will be approved for the loan request at 3.75%. Is this what is considered an approved credit according to the Small Business Administration? Yes, they will take you in from 650 to excellent credit. Again, working capital loans are different than a regular 7A request. Normally, a loan request goes to the bank. The bank underwrites the loan. If needed, they will seek the SBA guarantee. Otherwise, they will just lend you the money. The loan process, they process the loan, they disperse the loan, and they collect payments month to month. Also, normally there are closing costs attached to the loan application fees, and some others. In this case, the funds come directly from the U.S. Treasury. There is no cost for the application or closing fees. There is no fees at all. I repeat, unsecured loans mean that the loan has no collateral, but the max will be $25,000. I also mentioned this at the beginning. These forms were sent by Karen earlier, and by now you should have completed them and saved them in a pen drive or a file ready to share with me. All these forms are government forms. Therefore, the information should be the same everywhere in every form. The other information needed went in the same email that Karen sent as a list of long needed documents. If you remember, or if you have seen them, we'll talk about in the list, you have a request for taxes with all the schedules. When they ask you for your complete taxes, they are asking you for the entire tax returns, not the two first pages, not the second page, all of it. If your taxes is composed of 70 pages, so 70 pages you need to upload. You need to upload also the most recently tax return if you haven't filed 2019 yet. But you also have to have ready a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet for 2019. A current year-to-date profit and loss statement and balance sheet will be also needed. If you have failed to receive that email, please let us know so we can resend it.
Glamis, we had a couple of questions on this section. If you want to take them now or if you want to wait.
Sure.
Okay. Is there a possibility of an extension? For example, if the corona downturn lasts longer, would repayment still be in 6 months?
Yes and no. This is what it is estimated. That remember that this is an emergency fund that the government is available. There is no need for a legislative approval in this case. If they need to extend it, they will do it. If they need to increase the loan amount, they will do it. If they need to reduce the amount, they will also do that. This is the government helping you to stay afloat and with the certainty that you will reopen for business.
Okay. If a larger loan does not get approved, will an approved amount be offered? Is technology IP considered collateral?
Absolutely. Technology it normally has patents, have something of a tangible value, and of course, everything that is reflected in the balance sheet is considered equity. So yeah, also collateral is considered your stake in the business.
Okay, and just to
Much money
clarify, will
have
the
you?
loan amount approved be equal to the collateral available, or can it be higher?
I mean, it doesn't matter as long as you have at least 50% of equity in the business.
Okay, if the
And
business,
I'll explain to you a little bit down the road also that the government will take UCC liens on the business. If you already have a UCC lien, they will use a secondary UCC lien. Well, actually, the government takes a first lien position and second lien position only. So the others will move to third or fourth lien position.
okay. If the business doesn't meet the criteria you mentioned, should the business apply anyway?
That's the recommendation. You should apply anyway, but if you know that your credit is not good, you owe too much, you have collections accounts, that is a reason for decline. However, we need that decline number to move for a second look
Okay.
alternative.
Okay. Another question, does that mean if you have given back the totality of 25K before the 6 months, you only pay the principal, not the principal and interest of 3.75%?
That's a negotiation. If you are approved, you will be talking to an underwriter before you sign the papers. You can ask all the questions, but they're in that manner, they're very flexible. They can work with you, that you need to make only interest payments for the rest of the year, and then starting 2021 you will make principal and interest payments together.
Okay. Back on that tax question, if I already filed a corporate tax extension, will 2019 1099 be acceptable?
1099 is a way of payment. Well, again, 1099 will be good. It's just a form of payment. That is something that verifies how much have you taken from the business. But what the government needs from the business will be a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet.
Okay,
If
one more
you have
question. And
filed
then,
for extension.
okay, thanks. One more, and then we'll move on. We'll save some of these till the end. Should we be applying through our SBDC program and not the website sent in our emails?
We are here to help you to go through the process. Why? Because they ask very personal questions at the beginning, and it is important that you create a profile with the Small Business Administration. If there is, you're going to have direct interaction with the underwriters. However, if you need our assistance to have you on the phone as you go in the application, of course, and that's part also of this presentation. So, but I was going to say down the road, I will repeat it later. We're here to assist you. We make an appointment and we walk together. I walk you through the process, and that way is also, some sense of reliance, of trust that everything is going well. So we're here to help you, and we will be giving appointments for this purpose. Are we good?
Yep, great. Thank you,
Okay.
Glamis.
So there are a few applications, as I said before, that's Karen already sent you. You're familiar with this. I will explain to you one by one. Form 5 and Form 5C. So you got both. Form 5 is for all kinds of business. Corporations, LLCs, S corporations, but the sole proprietor form is the 5C. The sole proprietor form, that is called also sole proprietor form, for sole proprietors only. Okay, if you are a corporation or an LLC, use the 5. Use the number 5 application only. When you upload the documentation, you will be also asked, is this a number 5 form or is this a 5C form? So then you have to click one or the other, because it's different type of questions for each one. It's kind of the portal will direct you to a different set of options. So as you can see in this form, we have pretty much basic information that is personal information. So this part here, you don't have to worry about. This is internal information, but you have to click in physical damage, either if you're a rental, then real estate property, or real property, if it's a business content, name of essential employees. The form is pretty much self-explanatory, okay? So you don't need me for this, okay? But all the information that you put here in this form needs to be defaulted to the rest of the forms. For example, if my name is Glamis, middle name is T, and my last name is Haro, I have to use the same information in all the forms. You cannot say Glamis in one form and Glamis T in another. Are we clear about that? Well, I hope so. I don't see you, so I hope this explanation is clear. Moving on. Tax return. So as you go in the portal, assuming that this form is already completed, and you upload the form, then you need to verify the form in a link that links directly with the IRS, and you get a response with green light saying verify, and that's what we need. You don't stop until you get the green light verified, meaning that all the information that you have put here so far is being verified, is the same information that you are putting, or the same information that you have filed taxes with. So the Small Business Administration will require the submission of this form. You are totally familiar for this to be submitted for each business to include a form for the business tax transcripts and individual transcripts for each person that has 20% interest in the business and any individual that has 50% interest in an affiliated business. SBA will require copies of your most recent tax returns, personal financial statements, and schedule of liabilities. You got all these forms. So if you have student loans, tell the government how much you owe. If you have credit card debt for business, tell the government how much you owe in credit cards, okay? Why they want to know this? Because to measure if the loan amount is going to be sufficient to be uploaded through the rest of the year, but it's not part of a reconciliation. Okay, so I hope this explanation helps we're gonna
I
get.
think it does, Glamis. We just got a thank you from one of the attendees. Do you want to field a quick number of questions?
Sure.
Okay. This business owner has been getting some depressing answers from creditors in the past week because they're a startup and they don't qualify for the loans. How can we waive this rule? Any recommendations?
It all depends, right? If you can prove your monthly revenues, which is another form that I will explain later on, if the business is selling, the business is at least break even but not losing money, then you should apply. If the business has been reporting losses in the taxes, but your profit and loss statement and balance sheet shows that 2020 was going well, and all of a sudden everything went downturn. So that's, I would recommend you absolutely to apply, because this is like making your case. You need to make your case. Yes, I declare a profit loss in 2019 of X amount, but we started with green light in January and February until this virus came. So it's just a matter to interpret the information you're providing. But as long as it makes sense, you should apply and let them tell you that you don't qualify.
Great. And just to clarify on you reviewing this with your clients, they want to double check that the SBDC will review before filing. So they should make an appointment by telephone or online.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And we would be giving, and I'm going to be discussing that at the last slide.
Okay, perfect. There's a couple more really specific ones that are coming through. If I don't get to those during this or during the Q&A, it may be because they make more sense for you to ask your advisor in a meeting. So I'll try to send you a note to let you know that. We have a couple questions coming in on multiple locations and entities. Should we apply with the parent entity and explain our corporate structure?
Absolutely. And I already said that. All the affiliated businesses. Because yeah, you are one manager managing different locations. So you definitely should apply for it. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we can hold off on a couple more of these and we'll answer them if at the end if we don't answer them during this. Thanks, Glamis.
Sure. So this is the one of the forms that probably is totally new for you. Okay, and I will explain to you how can you prepare this form. For business owners who have worked with me and have been financed through with a bank with the guarantee of SBA, you are familiar to this form. I call it net worth statement. In a nutshell, this is everything you own, which are assets, minus what you owe, which are liabilities. In the business side, this form is called balance sheet. So you're totally, you're not new to these concepts, where it measures assets versus liabilities and owner's equity. So this is about you as the individual managing the business. The other balance sheet is about the business itself. I need you to read this with me. The COVID-19 is something new, and the SBA web portal is not currently set up to accept all the documents which will be needed for a loan processing. We have been advised by the Small Business Administration to inform you to prepare the following documents for your full application, even though the portal is not asking for them now. If you can upload along with your tax return, it will likely expedite your loan processing. So in other words, when you receive the email that Karen sent You also receive in the same email a list of documents that you will need to complete the loan process. I have spoken already to quite a few, probably 60 or 70 people that are my clients, explaining that you need to start working in the documentation provided in the list. So you will be asked for it. So just to give you heads up. Let's get moving now. So monthly sales are recorded in this form. Additional file requirements, a Small Business Administration Form 1368, which is the one that you're seeing, and probably you have it in your hand. Providing monthly sales figures. This is especially important for economic injury disaster loans. It's one amount, one list. In this form, you need to record your expenses for the 2020 year, meaning from when everything started going sour through the rest of the year. Remember that the worst case is that you get declined. We still need a decline number or decline reference or proof to go to an alternative source, but at least you have all needed documents in place after the decline. It's important to run these numbers to the end of 2020. We don't know how long we will need. If the business is recuperating financially, you can always pay in advance. For this form, what you need to do, multiply your advertising expense, let's say, or salaries 1 month times 12. Not times 12. It will be January, February, March. It will be April, right? You can put March, April, and the rest of the year. You multiply that number by the number of months, and that is how much you need for the rest of the year. Are we clear? If you need help with this, I can help you with that. Lawrence can help you with this. We're here to help you to get these numbers correctly. Because if you're short, you will be you will not have enough to finish the year. And we need this, you need to pay specific attention to this.
We have a couple related questions, Glamis. Do you want to take
Yes,
them?
sure.
Okay. What if we have not completed our 2019 taxes? Is there help there?
Then you will have to provide a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet for 2012, and also a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet from January through the day to today.
Okay. For sales estimate, do we use original projections or post-COVID sales?
The truth, that sales is money that you're retaining on behalf of the IRS. You're just gonna put there whatever it is. This is money that actually, when I teach my finance or finance 102 class, I always ask you to open a separate account and put that money on the side, because that's not your money. It's money that you're being holding on behalf of the IRS. In other words, your consumers have already paid the IRS the taxes, and what you're doing is just acting as a manager to forward the taxes when it's due. Collected taxes when it's due. So here, as you can see, you are not seeing taxes, sales taxes. Are we clear there? Okay.
I think they have some questions, but it might be best for them to meet, 'cause they seem a little detailed. So I'm going to recommend that they follow up with you or their current business advisor. If you have a payment arrangement with the IRS for past taxes, personally or company, can you still qualify for this loan?
you should submit the application anyway, but unpaid taxes is either because you have been audited and probably you have a lien in your in the business for unpaid taxes. So, but still, you should submit it. They might ask you a payment status from the IRS.
Okay. Regarding the loan application, as far as damage, what kind of damage is this virus? Do we check the physical damage box or what type of damage? They're not clear on that.
It would be the economical damage, pretty much. There
Okay.
is no physical damage to the premises itself. There is no physical damage. It's monetary damage.
Okay. Can this loan support a move-in or facility improvement so that manufacturing can happen during the outbreak?
Moving. That's a great question. I don't have an answer. You should submit the loan request anyway and let them tell you.
Okay, great. This person's a startup and they have a contract with a Fortune 500 travel company and received a contract termination letter due to COVID-19. Do termination letters suffice as proof of lost revenue?
Absolutely. That's damage.
Great. Can this loan, oh, I already asked that. Apologies. We have projects that are ongoing that would help generate higher profit for this year. Will they take into account that we have to shut down construction?
Absolutely. That's also damage.
Okay, great. Apologies if some of these are duplicate. We have quite a few coming in. What if you manage and own property? I'm sure tenants will have issues paying.
A non-for-profit, that is something different. We, as the SBDC, cannot assist you if you have a non-for-profit, but a Chamber of Commerce will, and also SCORE.
Great. Do you know how long the process takes on average, the application process from applying to receiving a reply?
21 days from the date you get a submittal. But those
Great.
21 days, there's a lot of interactions during that time, a lot of messages that you need to check. If they ask you for some more documentation, you keep uploading. If they have questions that you need to clarify, you have to be checking your email all the time.
Okay, can you apply for other government loans at the same time?
Sure. I mean, banks are swimming in money. Why not? But it will be regular term. Just let us know. We have great partners.
Okay, if your business is completely shut down, it's an event caterer, can you put $0 or do you have to include annual revenue?
You will need to include annual revenue and project how much were you expecting to receive, for contracts that have been coming. So contracts that you're not being able to perform due to the coronavirus.
Great. Is SBA loan separate from the New York City and state loans being offered?
The New York City, through Business Solutions, is actually offering a grant. Okay, we send you that link to complete even before we send you the loan documents for this for the federal government relief.
Okay, great. Are ongoing contracts that have been postponed considered?
That's damage right there.
Okay. Great. Can you define physical damage and economic injury?
Physical damage is that you have a storefront and you have to shut it down. You have a hair beauty parlor and it's closed down due to the virus. That's physical damage. Economical damage is the result of being closed. So kind of both go together.
Okay. I'm sorry if you answered this one already. Will the SBA require projections in addition to forms and other info discussed?
You already have everything that the SBA will be asking for. If projections are needed, this is the form, the most important form, okay? And this form, you write it directly from your financial projections.
Okay, we had another question about additional grants available. Would that be something that they would keep an eye on their email for coming from their center?
We already sent that email. In case you need the link, please let us know. We also sent another email letting people know that Facebook was offering also grants and some other institutions. I will go ahead and apply for everything.
Is there a central location that folks can kind of see all of what's available right now?
Well, if you're not subscribed to receive our alerts or emails, I will strongly recommend you to subscribe now so you can be up to date. There is a lot of information going on in social media and a lot of organizations, but be careful. Just be careful.
Companies will take on any liability for COVID-19?
Only if you have applied for lost revenue insurance, which is an additional insurance than the normally required liability insurance.
Okay. Do you know if folks can amend answers on the application after they've submitted it?
Once you submit it, you can, if you get an email in the messaging system of the portal, you can explain that. That's why it's important that you are absolutely sure that the information you're providing in the applications matches everywhere. And I'm going to be talking about that. I think is the next slide.
Okay, great. Let's continue. Thank you.
So what do we do next? You're working right now to gather all your documents. You have been working in the documentation since Friday that Karen sent the email. You need to put them in a folder or a pen drive or secures, I don't know. Here's my email. You need to send them to me. Okay, so I can take a look and just run it through to make sure that the information that you put it in the applications, in the different forms that you have, are accurate. Just a second eye, okay, to what you're already doing. Send it to me. I will happily take a look at it, and I will let you know that if you're ready for submittal, I will give you access to the to another presentation that is going to walk you through the process of applying, and I will be on the phone with you. Okay, so once they review the application, again, we will send you a guide to use. I didn't even look at the PowerPoint when I was saying this. And after you submit the application, you let me know. As a resource partner for the SBA, the SBDC is in constant contact with the Small Business Administration representatives about this program. I can only advocate for you if you know what's going on. So what if the loan is denied? We need a number so we can move to an alternative source of funds. So the biggest delays are for the following reasons: missing information, mismatching information. Make sure to complete the fillable application requirements before submitting the application in forms. If more funds are needed, applicants can submit supporting documents and a request for an increase. If less funds are needed, applicants can request a reduction in the loan amount. If the loan request is denied, again, We still need that application denial to move to an alternative source of money. But to apply again with the SBA, it will take you 6 months. So then you just remember that we are all in the same situation. And I need you to know that Columbia University SBDC is here to assist you. Zoom meetings are working pretty well, phone conference too, and I am sure that we all will be okay once we go back to normality. Please stay healthy. Do Zumba like me in the afternoons, at night, exercise at home, and be always positive that you are not alone. And you are not the only one who is under the stress. We all are, and we all need each other. So keep it sane, stay healthy. That's my recommendation. And that's pretty much what I have to tell you. If you do have other questions, please let me know now.
We were wondering, is the grant application link available for us to send, the one in your presentation?
A grant application, I don't have the link with me right now, but shoot me an email. I will be happy to resend it to you. Or we can send the link via our normal way, massive email, so we can send it to everybody again.
Okay. Do you want to field additional questions or do you want to wait?
Just go ahead.
Okay. Apologies if these are out of order. So this is a service business. Real estate, cars, are they limited to 25K or is there an opportunity to still receive higher amounts?
You have to make your case. As long as you can prove to the Small Business Administration that you can sustain, that the business is able to sustain a bigger amount, of course.
Okay, should we apply for the loan and payroll 40% grant or do we have to choose one?
I don't know if there is a choice for that. Payroll
Okay.
is payroll.
Who should they follow up with to help with that question?
Where did she or he saw that question?
I'll ask that person who asked to send me a follow-up note on that one and we can get back to it. This is similar. Can you choose what amount of loan you will get?
As I said before, you need to do the form. Let me go back. This form here. You list your expenses, multiply for the rest of number of months in the year, in this year, 2020, and that will be the amount that you're requesting.
Okay. Do you have to personally guarantee these loans?
Absolutely.
Okay. Does the application look at how much I owe in my personal credit to determine approval if I'm just a startup company for a few months?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we discussed about credit quite a bit.
Okay. And you might have answered this one already. Can accounts receivable be considered as collateral?
No, not for this type of loans.
Okay. Does this information apply to Long Island as well?
Absolutely. This is federal. This is federal.
Okay. For SBA Form 5 versus 5C, would a single member LLC use 5C?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning.
Great, thank you. We answered that one. One moment, let me just read through these. And you said when it comes to collateral, accounts receivable would count, just to clarify?
Accounts receivable will be in your balance sheet as accounts receivable in assets. It's an asset of the business.
Okay, with the accounts receivable account, if the service hasn't been performed yet and therefore there is no receivable, but there is a promise for
Right, and that's
service.
the case that they need to make. In my balance sheet says accounts receivable, this is money if performed, I will be receiving. But that's a damage. That's why you're requesting this money.
Okay, will the SBA require projections in addition to forms and other info discussed?
Yes, they will. That's why you're going to be working with us. Not only with me, we have Lawrence as well, that he's going to help me doing the financial projections.
Okay, and I think you answered something similar, but I'll ask this one again because it's a common one. What about proposals which were just about to convert into a contract but were shelved by the pro prospect because of the coronavirus? Is this still considered damage even though the contract was not signed yet?
Right. If your taxes for 2019 shows that you have been performing the service, and now because of the coronavirus, you're not being able to receive the further contract money, the accounts receivable money expected to be received if you perform the service, then yes, it is a damage.
Okay, when you do the projections, should you project expected growth?
For the moment, let's not think about growth. Let's think only about survival of the business. Okay, so just I will take the months for these expenses here. I will take the months of January, February, and March, divided by 3, multiplied by the rest of the year, and that will be the amount. Okay, let me do an example here. Let's say that your rent is $5,000 for the storefront that you have. $5,000 is in January, $5,000 in February, $5,000 in March. Okay, that's $5,000. The average is $5,000, right? So then you multiply 5,000 times 12, and that's the amount you need there.
Great, thanks
If
for the
you,
example.
I'm sorry, you take away the months that already passed, right? In January and February. So it will be only 10 months. It will be $50,000 for rent.
Okay, for those businesses that have both physical and economical damage, do you recommend selecting one rather than the other?
I mean, at the end, they're both the same thing because one is not able to perform due to the other. If there is no income, there is no ability to pay. If there is no service, there is no ability to receive money. So at the end, it's pretty much the same. It's just how you explain it.
Okay. We had someone apply for the city loan without the attached form for the city grant. Does this reject our grant application? The website did not allow for them to attach it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You should, if you have a number, you should call the city.
Okay, great. This person, first of all, wants to thank you for holding the seminar. They run an early childhood music program in New York City, but after 9/11, they moved out of the city. As we teach in various places, my home address is my business address. Would I still be eligible for the grant and loan that applied to New York City?
If the business is set to be a New York City business, yes. If it is operated in a different county, there will be other type of assistance in different counties. But if the business is a New York City business, you definitely should apply.
Okay, great. Let's pause for now. And if you sent in a question, I'll do my best to send you a note and let you know when we can answer it. Thanks, Glamis.
Okay. So Sandra sent me a question here. Someone is asking if I have laid off all employees except for essential people. Can I apply for the grant to keep these for essential? Oh, absolutely. I assume that the other employees are receiving unemployment benefits. Yes. So are we good now?
Yeah, let's continue on. And if your question wasn't answered during that section, we'll definitely get to it.
Okay, great. So that's pretty much all for me. And I hope now, guys, to reach out, work this weekend in the documentation and by mind and keep sending them to me in a Dropbox or to my email. Don't take pictures and send me because it's going to be very hard to open it.
Okay, we had someone who was logged in, but they didn't see the link grant application that was sent this morning. The link doesn't show the grant application once logged in.
That we sent it last Friday, so that's a different link.
Okay, I'll have them follow up with you if they need clarification on that one. Is the SBDC going to reach out to Kiva to ask about relief from payment during COVID-19?
No, we don't have anything to do with that, but I'll definitely check.
Great, thank you. Someone mentioned Facebook was not allowing submissions until 4/20, so we just wanted to let folks know to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's I don't remember exactly how much Facebook is going to give as a grant. I don't think it's much, but hey, at this point, anything can help. I will apply for anything that is being offered, quite honestly. For the
Okay,
business music in another county, I will definitely apply for anything that is available.
okay. This person has a large general liability renewal payment due at the end of this month. Have you heard if the insurance companies will waive their large fees?
I haven't heard of in that particular arena, but you can call your insurance carrier and find out.
Okay. The retention grant that.
What I did hear right now is that about the taxes, sales taxes is money that you're holding for the IRS, so that there will be no extension for those payments. So you need to send that money that you have been collecting from your customers on behalf of the IRS. That I heard, and also that the Jacob Jeves Center and all the CUNY schools are going to be they're preparing to be treated as hospitals. So they're expecting that, but at least they're working, and New York is preparing really, really well for any influx of illness, sick people.
Okay, I think you answered this one too, but just to clarify, what is the maximum loan amount we can apply for?
Again, I will go to the form that I mentioned before. This form here. This is key for the loan amount.
Great. So this person's wondering how to find their business credit score. They already know how to find their personal one, but they're looking for info on the business one.
I shouldn't worry about that.
Okay. We have a couple more. This person is an S Corp LLC, but they are a sole proprietor for this business. Do I file a Form 5 or 5C?
So if it is an S corp, so then it would be 5.
Great, thank you.
Remember what I said at the beginning? That corporations and LLCs file form number 5. Only sole proprietors, and sole proprietors are DBAs, doing business as, meaning that you don't have a legal structure set with the state of New York.
Great, thank
Then
you.
you are sole proprietor. Or there are businesses whose business only operates under an EIN number, right? That's a sole proprietor, 5C, Form 5C.
Thank you. This person has a for-profit construction company and another for-profit LLC real estate management. Do I apply for 2 loans.
Absolutely. If you can prove, if she can prove that the both companies have number one taxes and the lost of revenue, right? That's pretty much what you need to prove.
Okay, and then there's a request to send out the link to the grant application. Maybe Sandra can pull that up and send that into the chat information.
What was the question?
They're looking for the link for the grant application.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I don't have that with me because I'm using two computers at the same time, so I don't have access to that.
Okay. And if we don't get that in the chat box right now, definitely follow up with your SBDC advisor to get that.
She's looking for it right now.
Okay,
And we are
great.
pretty much past time, so we will remain here for a couple of more minutes if you have additional questions, and wait for Sandra to put the link in the chat.
Great, thank you. We had a couple folks ask for the PowerPoint presentation today. We will be sending it out as a recording to attendees and folks that signed up but weren't able to get on today. And then I believe Glamis is sending up a follow-up email to folks with
Yeah,
additional questions.
honestly, for people who are asking for the PowerPoints, if you have been listening and paying attention, you don't need the PowerPoint. This is not going to help you. This is a federal program. So if there are any consultants in the audience that need this to teach others, you're not going to be able to do it. This is very much the Small Business Administration has only 3 third parties that are allowed to do this, and that is the Small Business Development Centers, as SCORE, and Chamber of Commerce. Other than that, you really don't need this PowerPoint. We will be sending other PowerPoint information later on, but it's going to be a bit different than this. This is for our clients, how to do things. And yeah, so if you want to shoot me an email, you can do that. But we will be sending this information, but a different version, a version that is approved by the state of New York. This is property of Columbia University.
Great, thank you. We had another question from a startup, and I know you answered one similar before, but just to clarify, this person's a new business that has only been open for 5 months. Should we still submit for the grant, and can we make a case?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you. We've got lots of thank yous, Glamis, and a couple more questions. The New York City SBS grant for businesses of 1 to 4 staff is only giving an option to show damages during January and February, but the COVID-19 is affecting us March and April. Do we have to wait to apply for that grant?
I will go ahead and apply for it. What is the worst thing that they can tell you? Oh, it's March and decline you for that? They have to be able to give you a better reason.
Okay, great. Looks like we have a link available. Let me see if I can send this to everybody. In Glamis, you can let me know if that's the right one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, what should folks do if they don't have an appointment scheduled with you right away? It's pushed out a little bit.
So this is what you should be seeing once you click in the link and create an account, and then you apply for it.
Okay, we had a couple questions related to if you're not an SBDC client, how you can set that up, and I'll put in the link to our main website that has all the locations, so you can check out and find a location in your area, and then you can also click on the make an appointment form, and it'll ask you your county, and then it will send you to the office that is available in your area. Let me just scroll through quickly to see if we have some more. What should we do if our landlords are demanding rent although we are closed?
What are the landlords going to do? Absolutely nothing. What are they going to do? Actually, Senator Congresswoman Ocasio is requesting a bill to freeze mortgage payments, to freeze rent payments, and something else. But we don't know yet. So we have to just wait, okay? Actually, you shouldn't have any problem for March because rent is already paid for March. So the problem will be April. And by then we will have some resolution about that because many countries are doing it. El Salvador just passed these amazing bills to help people, freezing pretty much everything, including insurance payments and payments of credit cards and rents and mortgage payments and everything else. Same thing that Italy did. We might need to do some, the government is looking into it. So I'm very sure they will come up with some sort of relief about that. March, not to worry, March is paid already. April, okay? The landlord should not be requesting you a rent for April yet. It's not April yet.
Great, thank you. Someone just commented that Cuomo just announced no evictions for 90 days.
Right, that happens yesterday. That means that if you have been laid off and for due to the coronavirus and your unemployment benefits are not sufficient to pay your rent, then pretty much the system will be halt for that.
Okay. How do you think it's going to affect credit scores?
It's going to affect, remember, nobody wants to call it as a recession, but this is huge. This is huge. And if you guys have been attending my classes, you know that my emphasis is in sustainability and self-sufficient, becoming self-sufficient, not depending of credit cards. And we passed a situation 10 years ago, and now we're passing another situation 10 years. It's just crazy. So it's, credit cards always should be short-term debt, always. If you are facing problems right now, you know that it's going to be a lot of bankruptcy files coming up.
Okay. So we answered the question, a couple of these. Let me go through again just to see if I missed any. So after they compile the information, should they share the folder with you?
Yes, please. And I gave you my email address to do that.
Okay. Someone requested that you send the documents again that you guys sent in the email. Is that something you want me to include in the follow-up email?
Okay. We will resend the forms. Do you have them, Rene? Do you have them?
I don't, but I can send them in the follow-up email.
Okay.
And if Sandra, if you have them on hand, you could drop them into the drag and drop file. But if you don't, we can send a link to those in the follow-up email. Someone asked if we can redo the webinar. We'll send out the recording, but if you have additional questions, just reach out. You can reply to the email that you submitted or was received when you applied to the webinar, and we can follow up there.
Yeah. So probably in the future, probably in a week or so, we will probably need to do this live streaming so you can actually see me and just stay in contact with us. Subscribe to get our updates, and you'll get to know everything that we're doing to help you.
Okay, I think we have one last one before we follow up. This person distributes hand sanitizer. Is there a special funding program for essential products during COVID-19?
Oh my gosh, you should give us your phone number. Really, if you're doing hand sanitizer, then you should be in BitLinks right away.
Okay, And that's definitely something they should follow up with you on, is the bid links program.
Yes. Mhm.
Someone asked, sorry, do I project rental costs if I work out of my home?
Well, no, that's different.
Okay,
Remember that this loan is not for personal losses.
okay,
But if that person is in payroll, because this is to payroll for payroll, right? And rent is included in your payroll, then yes, you should definitely apply.
okay. And we've gotten a couple questions on specific grants for specific industries. That would definitely be a follow-up question for your advisor because they can look into that specifically. So. Glamis, I think we're good on questions. If I missed any, I apologize. There was quite a few coming in, and I tried to field them. But definitely follow up with Glamis or reply to the email that you received when you got into this webinar, and we'll do our best to answer those.
Right. So just remember also that the SBDC has another, we have another email address. I'm going to write it here as well. So it is SBDC at Columbia.edu.
All right, and I'll send that out to the entire audience as well so they can click on it from there. So in your chat box, you should see that email address, and you should also see the New York SBDC's appointment form if you're in a different location and you need to find a different office. And then we also send out that other form.
Right. Just to for you to get started, if you didn't get the forms, definitely send us an email. We will resend the forms immediately for you to start working this weekend.
Absolutely. And if you have any trouble finding contact information, we're also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at NYSBDC. If you want to follow us or send us a private message, I'll answer those and go from there. Well, thank you, Glamis, very much. Thank you, everyone who attended. Thank you for all the questions, and thank you, Sandra, for helping us out. Again, we hope everyone stays healthy and definitely follow up with any questions. Lots of thank yous, Glamis.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Stay cool, okay? We're going to get out of this.